Hi, my friends. It's Matt Christopher here, and thank you for being on my program. I just wanted to weigh in on the unfolding fiasco in terms of the departure of prominent governing body member Anthony Morris III. And I just want to add my opinion to the issue. I think this is going to be a short video, but I hope that it adds something to the debate that's raging at the moment. What I would say is until we get categorical confirmation, which will come out as to what actually happened or transpired as to why Anthony Morris III, who I believe was a member of the all-powerful Service Committee, certainly one of the most powerful committees within the hierarchy structure of Watchtower, why he actually stepped down is yet to be revealed. Now, what I would say is I hope that the XJW community certainly doesn't fall prey to Watchtowers tricks. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion, and I might be wrong, but I have a sneaking suspicion that this is a black hat operation. Now, you might say, what on earth is a black hat operation? Okay, when you look at the statement made by Watchtower about Anthony Morris III, there was two facts that were stated. They said brother Anthony Morris III is no longer on the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, full stop. And now that message has, which was on jw.org, has now disappeared. Now, this is why I think it's a black hat operation, and this is what I mean. Let's just say for a minute that Anthony Morris III was not dismissed because, and I'll go through the three theories that are doing the round. Number one, that he was dismissed because he was an unrepentant drunkard. Secondly, that the heat that was coming or is coming from the legal proceedings in Pennsylvania was they were beating a path somehow to his door, and so that's why he stepped down. And thirdly, because he was doing too much damage to Watchtower. And also, I say probably the fourth one is that there was some kind of internal rupture, a ruckus, I should say, within the governing body itself over disputes over new light, and Anthony Morris was an obstacle, and then he had to be removed. Now, all three or four may be correct. Maybe Anthony Morris III was removed because of one of those things. But what happens, friends, if he legitimately is sick? Okay? What happens if, for instance, he has dementia and he actually couldn't do the job? Now, this is my theory. I can't prove it, just a theory. Watchtower is hemorrhaging two things, and that is members, number one, but secondly, everything that they print, every correspondence that is sent internally is leaked even before it gets to the congregations. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses are, and especially Watchtower, is a litigious organisation that prides itself on internal discipline. Okay, these leaks have been catastrophic. Okay, now to give you an example, when one of the rising stars of Watchtower, Paul Gillies, faced the inquiry in the UK over sexual abuse allegations, and Jehovah's Witnesses were caught up in that net, the leaks that came out embarrassed not just him but Watchtower, and did huge damage to Paul Gillies' reputation. He was shown up. So I'm going to say this. Imagine this for a minute, and I'll give you a reason why I believe this. is Anthony Morris III is actually very unwell. He's mentally or physically, and I'd probably say more mentally unwell to even carry out the basic responsibilities, and all decided that he needed to step down. Fair enough. That's why it says brother. Okay, hasn't been disfellowshipped. He just isn't able to be a member of the governing body. Now think of it this way, and I'll give you this example. A very dear friend of mine, Simone, and she gives me permission to say this, was actually disfellowshipped here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, because she read Crisis of Conscience, and she asked questions about the validity of the claims that Ray Franz made in his book. That led her to being disfellowshipped. Not only that, she didn't even know that she was being disfellowshipped. Okay? Seriously. Let me put it to you this way. Imagine this. The XJW community rightfully broadcast that Anthony Morris III has been removed, and we speculate on what's happened. As I said, he could be a drunk. He was an embarrassment, Pennsylvania issue, whatever it may be. He had a falling out with the rest of the governing body members because of New Light issues. Watchtowers got rid of that information now. What do you think's going to happen if in a month or 2 months or 6 months, someone comes along to the elders and says, why was Anthony Morris III removed, or why did he step down? The first thing they're going to ask is, where did you get the information from? It was only up for a week. It's gone already. There's no mention of it. Anthony Morris' name has been basically taken out of the register, so to speak, of governing body members. As far as they're concerned, he never existed, not in that capacity. Wouldn't the local elders then be aware that, for instance, a person was accessing apostate websites? Let's just think about this. Anthony Morris III made it very clear that he hated and detested anybody that opposed Jehovah's Witnesses. We know that he wished us dead. And he went into graphic details to say that we were going to be, those opposed to Jehovah's Witnesses were going to be roasted or cooked like sausages and the smell of burning flesh. Okay, in one of the last discourses that he gave, he used that, as Mike and Kimmy says, the Enochian magic, where he struck the match and blew out the life flames of those who opposed Jehovah's Witnesses. This man was on a personal crusade against us. Okay, he was running his own inquisition. Okay? For those that know Anthony Morris III, apparently he was an absolute through and through company man. I've no reason to believe that he wasn't. What happens if his final act of vengeance for his religion was to lay a trap for all of us? What happens if he was genuinely too sick to continue on? Watchtower couldn't care less whether he drank or he didn't. In actual fact, if he did have a drinking problem, when would they have known that? He's been a governing body member for a very long time. If he had a drinking problem, they would have known about it for a long time. Anthony Morris has been saying crazy things for a very long time. And by the way, who's going to tap someone like Anthony Morris III on the shoulder and tell him to leave if he is on the all-powerful service committee? And add some weight to this is when our Aussie mate, Jeffrey Jackson, was here at the ARC, the Australian Royal Commission, into those abuses within non-for-profits and religions here in Australia, and he was asked about certain policies and procedures, especially to deal with what we call faith. He said, well, he wasn't in that department. He said he was in the translating department, indicating to the court, of course we know he does know, but what he was indicating that wasn't his, basically that wasn't his role. He was in the translating committee. So what he's trying to say is, I'm not responsible. I don't make those policies. Now, we know that he would have voted on any changes, but what he was trying to do is to really say that others held the responsibility. Now, Anthony Morris III was on such a committee. I'm just wondering whether or not they have used the tragic news of his instability and maybe terminal health to lay a trap in which they can weed out all those PMOs at the Bethels, at headquarters, even in the local congregations. You see, Jehovah's Witnesses are facing the greatest threat they've ever had. It's actually not from external forces. It's from us that are telling the governments and law enforcement about what we know. Okay? Watchtower wants all PMOs out. They want to weed them out. So this is just my theory. I'm not saying this is fact. I might be absolutely wrong. There might be complete, concrete evidence that comes out tomorrow that one of the theories that's doing the round is exactly the way it is, and that's fine. But let's just be very careful. The fact is that at this moment, we don't know. And there's a reason why they have got rid of that announcement. Okay, so that's just my point on it. Let's be very careful that this is not a trap laid by Jehovah's Witnesses to weed out those who are PMOs in their midst. I'm Matt Christopher. Thank you very much to all of you for your love and support, and I hope that this video is thought-provoking and adds something towards the unfolding, basically, catastrophe that the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses are facing. Cheers.